I want to start this episode a little differently to how you might expect. I am not going to tell you what this episode is about. Not yet. Instead, I want to describe someone, and I want you to notice, as I do, whether any of it sounds familiar. This person is capable. They have experience behind them, relationships they have built, things they have achieved. If you ask the people around them, they will tell you this person knows what they are doing. But something has shifted. A change arrived. Maybe one they chose, maybe one they didn't. And it has done something quiet and uncomfortable to the way they show up. They find themselves holding back in rooms where they used to speak freely, choosing their words more carefully than they used to, staying a little smaller, a little quieter, a little more careful than feels right. They are not sure when it started. They just know that the version of them who used to walk into a conversation and feel connected, clear, and confident, that version feels harder to find right now. And on top of that change itself, there is this, the exhaustion of trying to keep up with all of it whilst also trying to figure out who they are becoming through it. The busyness that feels like progress, but sometimes feels like hiding. The moments of rest that should feel like relief, but sometimes feel louder than noise. They know things need to shift. They are not entirely sure where to begin. If that person sounds even a little bit like you, welcome. You are in the right place. My name is Susan, and this is the Blossoming Speaker podcast. I created this podcast because I have been that person, not a version of them, that person, exactly as I just described them, capable and uncertain at the same time, knowing the techniques but not being able to make them feel like mine, showing up simultaneously, wondering if the version of me showing up was actually the right one for where I was going. I built something called the Speak Afraid method out of that experience, not because I found a way to stop being afraid, but because I discovered that fear, when you get curious about it rather than trying to overcome it, has something important to say, and that your voice, even a shaking one, even an uncertain one, even one that is not yet sure of everything it wants to say, is the very thing that moves you through change. Not around it, through it. This podcast is built around that idea, and it is for anyone who is navigating change that is shaping who they are in their work, their relationships, their sense of self, and who wants to communicate through it with more courage, more connection, and more of themselves intact. Here is a little of what we will cover together. We will talk about courage, not as something you dig for, but as something that opens up when you stop digging and start observing what the change around you is actually offering. We talk about enoughness, why knowing you are enough and believing it are two very different things, and what actually closes that gap. We will talk about presence under pressure, what the real lid is, and why taking it off does more for your confidence than any technique ever could on its own. We will talk about busyness and the quiet, honest truth about what it is sometimes disguising. We will talk about fear as a signal, about your voice as the change itself, about listening as a form of speaking, about getting on the same page with people when change has made the page itself hard to find. Each episode is a conversation, just us. No guest list, no panel, no one performing expertise at you, just me, sharing what I have learned through building the Speak Afraid method, through writing, through coaching people who are navigating the kind of change that shifts something in who they are, and trusting that if it resonates with me, it will resonate with you too. I want to say one more thing before episode 1 begins. This podcast is a place where you are not alone. That matters to me more than anything else I could offer you here, because the specific kind of experience we are going to talk about, the change that silences you, the fear that goes for your voice first, the in-between place of not yet knowing who you are becoming, that experience can feel extraordinarily lonely. Even when you are surrounded by people, even when your life looks full from the outside, you are not the only one who has felt this. I felt it. The people I work with feel it. And the fact that you are here listening to this tells me something about you, that some part of you already knows there is a way through and is willing to keep looking for it. That is not a small thing. That is the beginning of everything. So, welcome to the Blossoming Speaker podcast. I am glad you are here, and I mean that without reservation. Episode 1 is ready when you are.